Welcome to the Everything Actioncast, the official podcast of everythingaction.com.
Hello and welcome to the Everything Actioncast, the podcast for the week of August 28th, 2023. I'm your host, Zach.
I'm your co-host, Chris.
And we are back. We took the last week off from a regular podcast. Hopefully everyone listened to our Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the movie commentary, which is still up on site. You can head over and check that out if you want to dive, if you're in the mood for some more Ahsoka stuff. And
all began.
See where it all began, then where we are now, which I'll talk about later on, show and tell. But let's dive into this week's show, and we got kicking things off with some sad news. We lost a couple of people who were kind of legends in their respective fields. So first up, Arleen Sorkin passed away. I think last weekend. Who is obviously the inspiration, both kind of like physically or mannerism wise, and also the voice for Harley Quinn. Starting on the animated series, and then pretty much every iteration until DC Universe Online. And she was but Arkham Asylum, any sort of like the new Batman Adventures, like Return of the Joker for Batman Beyond, the Batman Vengeance game. Like,
if it wasn't Tara Strong, it was most likely Aaron Sorkin during those eras.
Well, Tara Strong took over basically because after Arkham Asylum, I think Arkham Asylum, and then DC Universe Online was kind of like that's when like Arleen Sorkin
that was
retired.
Her last.
That's when she like retired from the role, and then Tara Strong took over for most of the Harley Quinn stuff.
Wow, she was only in 4 video games.
Four video games, but all the sort of like Mask of the Phantasm, all any sort of DC animated thing prior to that.
Yeah. I'm not downplaying it. I just thought she was. I thought Harley Quinn was in more.
Yeah.
I'm surprised, because her mannerism was copied by other people, where it's like you can't tell which one exactly at times, which voice actress was voicing her. And you could tell slight differences in the movies, where it's obviously Kelly Cuoco, or that girl that was in Big Bang that did the.
You just named the same person. You just named the same person. You said Kelly Cuoco, and then the person who's in Big Bang Theory, which is the same person.
No, different person.
Oh wait, are you talking? Was it Melissa Rauch? Are you talking about? Did she do Harley?
Yeah, there was the Harley Quinn movie where she teamed up with Robin and Batman. That was the one where where she and Nightwing get intimate.
Yeah.
Different Harley. Same Big Bang show.
Yeah, there's been a bunch of Harley voice actors, but I mean, anyone who voices Harley is in the shadow of Arleen Sorkin.
Yeah, no, Arleen Sorkin is the gold standard for a Harley.
Mm-hmm.
Tara Strong comes a close second, but that's just because of that she got Harley Sorkin got there first.
Yeah. And in years, I didn't realize, but Arleen Sorkin was on 427 episodes of Days of Our Lives.
Yeah, that's not a shock, because that's all an episode a day for 5 days, and it's I think she was on it for
1984 to 2010. Apparently, is when. So.
That's good work. I mean, soap operas, if they're really good, they don't need to be very busy with other gigs and stuff. They just do soap opera work until they get tired of it, or until they get written off, and even then, it's you might come back.
Yeah.
I haven't really watched a good soap opera in a long time. I didn't know that she was in it. And I also didn't watch Days of Our Life. I was a General Hospital guy. And One Life to Live.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, those are definitely her two big things. Days of Our Lives, and then anything Harley until 2012. So, but yeah, a huge shadow. Anything Harley related is going to be always compared to her, and inspired by her. So R.I.P. to Arleen Sorkin. And then also Bob Barker passed away last weekend as well, which, obviously one of the greatest game show hosts of all time.
Yeah, a face of a generation of just like quiet voiced, well, just very like he had a very cool host attitude, and he looked the same for 20 years, so it was like hard to tell. Like you had to judge like the clothes on everyone else in the show to figure out like what
Yeah.
episode you're in. You know, someone puts like a clip online, you're like, I don't. This could be yesterday. This could be 15 years ago. I have no idea. Only when you see like Drew Carey, you're like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Of Price is Right, you're like, oh shit. And even then, I kind of forget like Drew Carey took over because I don't really watch a lot of Price is Right these days. But Bob Barker sort of just kind of like he just sort of did his own thing. You know, he just kept himself. He didn't. He made appearances now and then in public events, and like it's really hard to find like a negative thing about Bob Barker in the last few years.
No, I mean, yeah, just fantastic hosts. I mean, animal rights activists, like I was like all this spay and neuter your pets stuff, and so, and yeah, 19 daytime Emmy awards for hosting The Price is Right, and yeah, he hosted it from 1972 to 2007.
What? I thought he like did it longer.
Well, there was like a version of Price is Right before Bob Barker. There was like a super early version of Price is Right, and then the like revamped action, like the modern what we think of as Price is Right, started in the 70s.
That makes sense. No, if it's like some odd version, I understand that, but I just thought Bob Barker was like the host until like 2010, something like that.
No, yeah, Drew Carey's been hosting since 2007, so like
Big shoes to fill.
Mm-hmm. And then obviously like appeared in like lots of things that like TV and movies as himself mostly. Probably most memorably Happy Gilmore, the classic Bob Barker versus Adam Sandler fight.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so R.I.P. to both Arleen Sorkin and Bob Barker. Just huge parts of like their respective fields, voice acting and game show hosting. So moving on to other news, we got some trailers to dive into. So we got the first trailer this week for the new David Fincher Netflix movie, The Killer, which is based on a French graphic novel series. And it stars Michael Fassbender as the titular killer, who's an assassin. And whatever his latest hit goes wrong, so now he's on the run from his employers and the authorities. There's like this big global manhunt after him. And Tilda Swinton's co-starring in it.
I feel like Tilda Swinton is the villain.
Probably. I'm assuming she's probably like the person that runs whatever agency or group that Michael Fassbender works for.
See, I don't like it when hit people have like a weird, like, okay, the John Wick Hitman universe, fine. They at least groomed it really well. But in this kind of sense, I don't feel like he needs like a big agency. It should just be mob bosses that just hire hitmen left and right, like freelance contractors.
Yeah.
In the comic, and as a very like particular comic nerd, just because I like the story from the comic, and it's just like do this and you're fine. It's more like he has a handler that does the like negotiation, but there's no allegiances, so it makes it harder to like track, and it's also makes sense to let like you don't have like agency that decides like time to kill you, like you betray the agency. It's like I never get that plan because it's like he's your top agent. It's not like people never mess up as a hitman. You can't be like the first. It's like a one mess up rule and you're dead. Like if so, every hitman knows that going in. Like, it should just be like a built-in thing where it's like, oh, I didn't kill my target. Oh, shit. Don't just be like, I wonder why my boss wants to kill me. It seems like, you know what I mean? Like, that should be on their mind all the time in that world then.
It's, if you're a cinematic assassin, like whoever you work for is going to turn on you at some point.
It's a built-in rule.
Mm-hmm.
at least in the comic, it's not so obvious, and even then, it takes a while for that to sort of, well, like it's sort of like the first domino to drop. So even if it's like the one thing, there's still like a bigger mess that keeps getting bigger and bigger based on like just his survival. And that's fine because like the form that does that really well was John Wick, even though he's not assassinating like assassination of the gods wrong. He's just legit trying to fight for his survival. And occasionally like he does assassinate, but by the third and fourth movie, he's not trying to assassinate anyone specifically. He's just trying to survive. So, that's why I'm like like Netflix is giving I realize this too, that like they did the same thing with Polar, another assassination movie. Like I did mind the comic. The comic is paced really well. That's because it's a bunch of short like missions that he does and it escalates. But this, like, I really hope they learn not to do that. Like, I really hope they learn not to cram everything that made the comic good in this one movie because there's no time for pacing and there's no time to like do its own thing to get to the point. So I'm excited, but they really made his character seem like he's Steven Jobs of just trying to keep like his tech like really low and his like cover really, I mean, he was very like. I realized that. I was like, oh, he reminds me of like that Jobs movie and his like very particular need. Is he going to try to change his shirt with someone in the thing and he's going to have like an innovation or something? He's going to be like, oh, one day we'll put this in our pocket, this technology or something. And I don't know. I had bigger hopes the trailer was going to show me like the more Parisian inspired arc of the first story, but this seems like he's almost globetrotting, right?
I think that's what like the kind of the log line is saying. Like he's on there's like an international manhunt, so he's probably gonna be like jumping around in different places.
I mean he does, but it's like it sort of it plays into what he is trying to do for like contracts. Not so much his survival, like her survival, but we'll see. I'm like shitting on it at this point just to hope. I'm pre-shitting on it, so I'm not too surprised if they just do a hitman can outrun his former employee, like yada yada yada. Because I've seen that movie a lot, and hell, it's giving me goddamn that Henry Golden Golden assassination something.
Assassination Club or whatever it was.
Oh my god. Yeah. That at least was not globetrotting, but it just was not to the grand scale as the beginning builds it to be. You still got to see it so we can bitch about it together. It's not as bad as the 311 or the
Ava or whatever.
Oh my god. Have you seen Ava yet?
No.
Oh my, just drink a lot and then throw on Ava.
Well,
you'll sober up, I guarantee it.
I'm excited for this one just because it's David Fincher and who like has rarely stood us wrong on anything. And it looks like it has a lot of like the typical David Fincher like style. It's got the Trent Reznor Atticus Ross soundtrack that we've come to expect from David Fincher. And I think we may actually get like reactions fairly soon because if you're hearing this when it's out, it's actually going to premiere at the Venice Film Festival on September 3rd. So we might get some like early reviews or like reactions from that, like so at the end of this weekend, like on Sunday. And then it's going to have a limited theatrical release October 27th, and it'll be on Netflix on streaming on November 10th. So multiple releases this fall, but the main reason everyone's probably going to see it is in November. And then also on Netflix is a new crime series, limited series. It's going to be out on October 21st or October 16th, I think, actually on Netflix. But it's Bodies, which is also based on a graphic novel, a Vertigo/DC comic. And it has a very intriguing premise where there are 4 different police officers in different time periods of London / the UK, but they all find the same body of this naked man who's been like brutally murdered. And then so it's like how it's and there's like a connection between all these eras, all these different cops, and how what is the like why is the same body appearing in like different eras? And it's like a copper era, like Victorian era cop. There's a 40s cop. There's a present day cop. And there's a future cop.
Future cop sounds interesting.
Yeah, like
wouldn't future cop be way more history? Be like, oh, I know. Past cop is the first cop you think about it to be like, this happened. We should write this in a book. But future cop should be like, oh, let me look on my like Google like. Trying to think of future challenge. Google
like class tablet or something like.
Google person. Google is just like a person you can talk to.
Mm-hmm. You're like Black Mirror eye lenses.
Yeah. Let me bring up my Google human.
I think the future cop is in the year 2053. So like 30 years in the future.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I get it, but you won't get super high tech, but it means not cyberpunk yet. But I get it if it's like you still at least have like a database to reference, and it's like this murder has happened at least 3 times in the record, right? And it's like, and it's same location too.
I don't know if it's the same location, but it's
okay.
It's British cops stumbling on it like in different eras. So
yeah, so I'm saying it's just like it's sort of like Crime Alley. It's just always every 35 years, like this dead body of this guy shows up.
Well,
I wonder if he's wearing different clothes or it's like this weird. It's like who killed this reenactor?
It looks like he's like the body's always naked. Like they just find this like naked guy in like an alley, and he's like his head's like he's got like wounds on his head. But yeah, very very intriguing. And it's October 19th is actually when that's coming out. So definitely looking forward to that when that comes out, checking that out. And then last trailer this week is we got I don't know if it's the final trailer, but a new trailer for Five Nights at Freddy's, which is coming out just in time for Halloween next month, or in October on October 27th on Peacock and in theaters, so you can stay home and watch it or head out to the theaters to see it. But yeah, new trailer. Kind of like most of the stuff we've seen before. We get some more looks at what the animatronics are gonna look like, which are designed by the Jim Henson Creature Shop. So he's like Freddy and his friends are all Jim Henson creations, and they look pretty great.
They still look a little too CGI for me, but I get it.
Well, I mean, it's weird because like they're not. I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be some CGI in it, but yeah, they're like actual like practical like there's guys in suits like walking around in these as like Freddy Fazbear and stuff. And then it's Josh Hutcherson is the security guard who gets hired to kind of be like the guy watching the monitors, just like in the game. And then for some reason he brings his daughter with him to like the job.
First day on the job, want to make good impressions, bring your kid.
At this creepy rundown abandoned pizza shop where horrible things happened in the past. And then Matthew Lillard I believe it seems like he's the guy who owns the pizza shop, or like is like the current like owner, or like he's.
I think he's just like a retainer. Like,
yeah,
like a bank like owns the property.
Yeah. But he's definitely giving off like very like creepy vibe. Like he knows what's going on and what's like what could happen if he says this guy into Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
Well, yeah, I feel like he's a local, so it's just sort of like, hey, here's the legend that everyone seems to know.
Well, it's also like the like cop who's like shows up too, and she's like, oh, you don't know about the like killer robots? Like, let me tell you about it.
I feel like she might be either one of the kids that used to go there, and so she was there during the incident, or just I don't know, she is part of the plan to get more souls to come.
Maybe, yeah.
So I don't know why it's like, why would you warn people? But I get it, where it's like you kind of freak them out to get ready, so that way they don't believe you for a while. It's fine because it's like a honeypot scheme, and technically, so Friday Nights at Freddy has always been like a honeypot job of like, this is an easy job, and then it's like, no, it ain't. And that has happened for at least 5 games.
Mm-hmm.
Have you played any of the Five Nights at Freddy?
A little bit of the first one. But I haven't really like gone past that.
Yeah, I played the first one, and then I've just like watched the lore being told, and then ever since like you watch the game theory of it.
No, I haven't.
It's like every year or two when they make a new game and it just like radically changes some of the canonical lore. Like then he has to make a whole new video explaining things, trying to like tie pieces together.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a point where the creator just definitely didn't have a roadmap. You know, he's just sort of like, oh shit, how can I like tie this in? Like, you know, like the first two games, you're like, okay, yeah, like we get more story. The third game was getting kind of weird, and then after that, it was just like he's guessing.
Well, Sean Kaufman co-wrote the script for this movie, so I don't know what that. if you say it goes off the rails, then I don't know what hopefully the movie is like. Hopefully the movie's more simpler, maybe like more like the first two games. If you're saying like the first two games were kind of more reasonable and they went crazier.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but
yeah, hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's better than Willy's Wonderland, which is still just such a wasted opportunity. I feel of like Nicolas Cage in Freddy's.
Yeah, very crazy. Like, what would you ever think? Like that was a Blumhouse one, right?
I believe so. Yeah. No, this is
official Blumhouse. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, I would have swore that was like a Blumhouse too, but I mean, I didn't mind the idea of Nick Cage beating up animatronics. It just failed on everything else. And then if you watch it as sort of like a Nick Cage only movie, you gotta be a fan. It's not bad. But you try to watch it like a Five Nights at Freddy, it's bad.
And just like why the decision? I think it was Nicolas Cage's decision, but it's just a weird decision. Of I'm not gonna have any dialogue. I'm just gonna be totally silent this entire movie.
I don't know. It's up in the air for that one. That could be the crazy director or Nick Cage. Or was Nick Cage a director? We have no idea.
Maybe. But yeah, hopefully Five Nights at Freddy's is good. And hopefully it continues the trend this year of like very solid video game adaptations. You know, we had like The Last of Us was amazing this year. Super Mario Bros. Movie, Twisted Metal even was really good. So
surprisingly, Twisted Metal. I am still shocked that how much I liked it.
So yeah, October 27th, Peacock or theaters. You know, just in time for spooky times. You can check that out for Halloween. And moving on to other news, we got a bunch of news about either like TV or movie delays or cancellations or renewals. I think mostly probably due to like the continuing WGA SAG-AFTRA strikes, because you don't have any actors or writers like writing anything or promoting anything. So a lot of stuff's getting shuffled around or it's not being worked on if it's not finished yet. But probably the biggest move so far post strike happening is Dune Part 2, which is supposed to come out November 3rd this year, is now moved to March of next year. So March 15th, 2024 is when Dune Part 2 is coming out.
Gives me time to watch Dune 1.
Again, yeah. Read the books, baby. I don't know. But it's crazy because like there was an Empire magazine had a big cover story of like Dune, get ready for it, it's coming. Like it's coming. I think like the title, like the date might have been right on the cover of that magazine too. It's just like November 2044, get ready for Dune. It's just like nope, that's doesn't work anymore. And they didn't specifically say it was because of strike, but I would assume if you can't have the cast around to like promote the movie and go like talk shows or go on whatever web shows or whatever to promote Dune, then that's probably why they shelved it. I was listening to, I think it was the Filmcast podcast earlier, and they brought up this great point that I hadn't even thought of, but then it like blew my mind when I heard it. Is like they haven't changed the date for Aquaman 2 yet, but there hasn't been a single trailer or promotional thing for Aquaman 2, and they're still saying it's coming out this year in like 2 months, and we haven't seen anything about it.
Yeah, like
isn't that crazy?
I kind of forgot that's coming out.
Yeah.
Wait, okay, here's the insanity. What would you rather see? Batgirl or Aquaman 2? It's like, this is the time you release Batgirl because it's already made. Technically, it doesn't, like, everyone's been paid for their time, right? Like, by now?
I think there was some weird legal thing where now they're legally they cannot release it because they wrote it off on their taxes and whatever financial thing they did
Oh, they
because of
really
it.
like legit like burned it in the vault or
They,
something. Like they just
they,
locked it.
it's because they wrote it down as whatever write down or whatever
Loss it is.
what loss it was. They can never release it because it's like fraud or whatever, or it's like whatever it conflicts with that decision they made. So
Holy
yeah,
shit.
it can never come out. And they would have to do like they have to do like all post production on it anyway too. Like it was like principal shooting it but done on it, but there was no post production on it yet. There was no finished effects or anything like that. So
Oh, it's like just Logan,
yeah, the
the Wolverine.
X-Men Origins Wolverine, yeah. I'm thinking the gray buildings, everything.
Well, I'm always saying that because like Aquaman 2 just doesn't seem that interesting, and I think Amber Heard just sort of like that was her like last movie she made before she just disappeared.
Imploded, yeah.
So even if they had to do like reshoots or any kind of marketing, it's like, hey, like, what about that? Like, I mean, I still haven't seen The Flash yet, so for all I know, she got sucked in a time portal, and that's like the explanation.
Well, yeah, and also, I mean, DC has been having a very bad year at the at the box office. Like everything failed. Um, but Aquaman 1 was a billion-dollar movie, so I don't know if people were still like, even though everything else failed, if people were still excited for Aquaman, like or just like Jason Momoa or what have you. But yeah, it's insane if that movie is still coming out and they haven't like. Yeah, there's been literally nothing. There's been like one poster maybe, and that's it. There's been any sort of like promotional photos or yeah, a teaser trailer, a trailer, anything. It comes out at Christmas, I think, is like, or December 21st is when the release date for that is. So yeah, we'll have to see if Aquaman comes out. But yeah, Dune is out of this year. It's going to be next year. We'll have to wait to Return to Arrakis. And on the TV side of things, also on the Warner Bros. Like HBO Max side of things, True Detective Night Country, which is the fourth season of True Detective, is now going to debut in January next year. It was supposed to come out this year. They didn't actually say like what day it was going to be on, or like what day or month it was going to be out this year. But it was supposed to be out this year sometime. They had it in like a sizzle reel for like what's coming up in 2023 from like Max. But yeah, now it's January next year. No reason given for like the delay, but probably strikes because you can't have like Jodie Foster and everyone else kind of talking about it. And then we also on on Max, The Idol, the controversial weekend
Vanity project.
the Project of the Weekend has been canceled after one season.
What's that show about?
I think it's Lily Collins or Lily. Is it Lily Rose Depp? Is that who's the co-star? I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Johnny Depp's daughter.
She's like a Britney Spears-esque like pop star, and then the Weekend kind of like she like meets the Weekend and he's like
a manager.
Becomes like her manager, or like he like kind of is like a like cult leader, or like sort of like starts manipulating her and like this is how you should like act, and then or like this is what you should be doing with your songs, your career, your your look or whatever. And then she also has like this pop star has like a nervous breakdown after her last tour too. She's in this like very like vulnerable place post tour, and then gets sucked into this like this guy's like strange like web of influence. Yeah.
Oh. Wow. That's what The Idol is?
Yeah.
Huh. Like I thought it was just like rich pretty people doing like pretty rich people things. Like it just seemed like that because there was no plot. It just seemed like they wanted to like he wanted to control her, she wanted to be free, but that's mostly what like a lot of those love stories are like.
Yeah.
But then I just didn't understand how there's like another season of that. Like, you know, like I didn't do you need more?
Well, it was critically panned. Like it got horrible reviews when it came out. So, and I don't know. I think a lot of people were like maybe like hate watching it to start with, or maybe just like checked out the first couple episodes to just see how crazy it was, and then maybe dropped off. So,
Well, I kept seeing like the weird random like nudity scenes that like without any context just looks like a Weekend music video. Like it just seems like, oh, the Weekend is just making like very avant-garde like songs. Like, oh,
yeah,
is this like from his album? Because his music videos are fun. Like they're weird, you know, like
that'll probably be like the enduring thing that like goes beyond the show is like because I think he did a song for every episode, or there was like an entire album that was just for this. Like it was like the soundtrack for the show. So that'll probably last longer than
the actual show.
If people remember the show, they're like, oh yeah, this song was from that weird show that the Weekend did like a couple years ago.
That's funny that like think about a year from now, that songs are on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
And people go like, "Oh, what's that from?" And then they go, "Oh yeah, that show." And then, you know, like it's such I get the marketing.
One of the songs he did for that came from the show had Madonna on it.
What?
Yeah, it was like The Weeknd, Madonna, and Playboy Cardi. Popular is the name of the song.
Okay, so I get like the music. I feel like all the money went into the music, and then the appeal that people would be horny to watch it because that's what Europa was like.
Euphoria.
Euphoria.
Yeah.
It's just because on concept alone, it's like watch these horny teens or fake horny teens be like terrible to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think, and it's also made by the people who did Euphoria.
I think it was, yeah.
So I think that was carrying it for like the first few episodes, and then people start really like digging in and going like, I don't like anyone. Like, granted, the show's this kind of melodrama, you're not really supposed to like anyone because you don't want to be them. But the problem is, it's also not entertaining because you're just screaming at your TV, and I get it, like you're just like hate watching it. But I already had that with freaking White Lotus season 1. Because I was like, what? You know, like I don't know. It was this time last year. It was very popular. Even this year, it's just like it like was like dramatic escalation.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess it just wasn't like conveniently sexy enough because they were selling it on just like how erotic this show sounds, and then it's like
it's so dangerous and sexy.
So yeah. Like I remember that. I was like, oh, like come watch this like strip dance thing. I'm like, but what's happening? It's just like this cult leader's got her in his midst. I'm like, The Weeknd?
So also cancels a show that was way more critically well received than The Idol, which is The Great, the Hulu show that starred Elle Fanning and Nicholas Hoult about Catherine II. Or Catherine the Great, and then has third season earlier this year, and then it was canceled earlier this week. And I think it already might have gotten like I think they already previously might have said like, oh yeah, it's gonna get like a 4th season, and then they're like they reversed that and was like, actually no, we're not gonna get 4th season. So
I get that. It sucks because like I did kind of catch a few random clips here and there. And it seemed like it escalates from the first season. So if you base it just solely on the first season, it gets more and more ramped up than just like fast talking French aristocratic like high class women and like men with their weird problems. Because it's making fun of like the weird times, and it's showing that Catherine the Great wanted to actually stand out of the pack and be like a modern day woman at the time. And then it gets like oddly bloody. Like some clips just come out of nowhere. It's just like, and someone gets shot, and it's not like, oh, it's like, play for fun. It's like, no, like that guy got headshotted. So it sucks. It sucked that got canceled so soon because there was that other show I was gonna give it a shot, but it was like back to back. It was the one that was like dueling brothels.
Oh yeah, what the heck was the name of that show? I can't remember. Was it Harlots?
Yeah, I think it was Harlots, and it was just like I was getting kind of interested in that, and then this came out, and I was like, well, okay, I'll watch one and after the other, and then they just sort of Hulu stopped recommending it for me.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's a lot of money to do like period pieces, so I get why they're like this has to go.
Yeah, I've heard nothing about good things about the grade, and it got tons of Emmy nominations, so it's definitely a shocking kind of like you think Hulu would want like that kind of like series to keep going, but I guess whatever it was, ratings or cost or whatever, it just didn't work out. So that is gone from Hulu. But one show that got renewed was the Lincoln Lawyer, the Netflix version of the Lincoln Lawyer. That is getting a third season. I believe the second season aired in like 2 different parts earlier this year. It was like part 1, part 2 in like July and August.
Have you seen it? No?
I haven't seen any of it yet. I mean, I've heard it's getting like I think it's got decent reviews.
I mean, it's like right after you watch all of Suits, or somehow you ended up in a Suits wormhole. Lincoln Lawyer is right there.
Do you think that started the whole like Suits dominating the entire like pop culture sphere again thing?
Maybe. And it's like, so weird because I thought like, did Suits get another season? And it's like, no, people are just rewatching it again. I was like, what is happening, Netflix?
The numbers,
like, it was everywhere. It was like people putting clips on Twitter, people putting like the shorts on YouTube. And it was like recommending like, hey, check this out, Suits. I was like, I get it. That came out like 10 years ago. Thank you, Netflix.
No, I think when I see like, because it's been the top, like Nielsen does like their streaming ratings where they do like the what are the top streaming shows across all the different platforms. And
it's not just Netflix.
Well, I think it's because it's on Netflix has all the seasons, and then or like up to like a certain point, and then Amazon Prime is like the final season. So Netflix doesn't even have the whole show, I don't think, yet. It has like 8 seasons, but there was 9 seasons. So so it's like I think it's across Netflix, Peacock, and Prime Video. Because Peacock has all the seasons too. Because obviously
that makes sense.
That was like it's a USA, which is owned by NBC, which is owned by Universal. So, but yeah, I think it had it's got since like June or July, like Suits has like 20 billion hours watched or 20 billion minutes watched on across whatever streaming services. So yeah, it's that's just insane. Like just like everyone's just like, yeah, Suits. And
now it's Lincoln Lawyer.
Yeah, I wonder if people, everyone was watching the Lincoln Lawyer probably got suggested Suits after they wrapped up the show or after each episode. Probably like Netflix probably popped up and said like, hey, you want to watch Suits?
So I watched the first few episodes of Lincoln Lawyer. I didn't mind it. It's very like by the books kind of any lawyer show. The only thing I think the gimmick for the Lincoln Lawyer is that because he used to be a drug addict, that was his thing. It's his like MacGuffin of like, I never want to be that guy again.
And that he doesn't have an office. He just drives around Los Angeles and like works out of his car.
No, he has an office.
Oh, he does? I thought that's the whole thing, is that his office was his car, his Lincoln.
No, he has like an office because he has his own, because he inherits another guy's practice. Like he has the clients and all that. and then he's given the chance to go to the office, but he's like, nah, like I'll use like I need a base of operations, like okay, that's an office. He's like, no, I don't. Like I'm gonna do it out of the car. And I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he has an office. It's just like he just doesn't use it because that's where he meets his like team. Because he has like a team. He has like an investigator. He has a secretary. So it's like she's not in the car. She's in the office. Plus, like okay. So the other thing is, as a lawyer, you need when you get like in documents, you just can't send it to a car. Like they need an address. So he has an office. Like he gets documents sent to an office. I think his personal office is like in the car, but no, because when he gets like documents, it's like sent to his office, like the folders and stuff.
Yeah, it's funny that like this is on Netflix, and then Amazon Prime has like a lot of the other, or like it seems like it's trying to build up like some of the other like Michael Connelly shows, like Bosch, because Bosch and like Mickey Haler, like the Lincoln lawyer, are like related. They're half brothers.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that apparently in the book, and apparently like in the like the two book series, like the Michael Connelly books, yeah, like they're half brothers.
What?
I think all the Michael Connelly books are kind of like in the same universe. It's like the Michael Connelly it's like literary universe.
Wait, Bosch, the one that was on Amazon, the one that
Yes.
like,
Yep.
he's like a detective that also
Yes.
becomes like an FBI agent at times whenever they need.
Yeah.
Doesn't he also have like a drug problem or something?
Maybe. I don't. I've never seen Bosch. I just heard about it. But
Like my dad likes Bosch, so I get that. Like Bosch is like, what you said it was like
peak.
shows for your
Oh,
dad shows.
yeah. Peak dad show. Bosch.
Because the main character is like a father figure guy who like had a bad relationship with his wife or his divorce
Mhm.
and is trying to redeem himself and maybe get closer to his kid. It's like the formula for dad shows.
Yeah. You can only can you. Prime Video is probably like like kidding yourselves. Like, man, we should have got the Lincoln lawyer. We could have had like the Michael Connelly verse. Although they already screwed up the Jack Ryan verse, so because they had like they got two separate like Jack Ryan universes going on at the same time.
Yeah, if Amazon was smart, they would do. I mean, they would try to like do a big universe of what they can get their hands on.
The dad verse, just like all these like dad shows, like Jack Ryan and Reacher and Bosch, and they're all in the same universe. They team up.
Uh-huh. They team up for a case that is a
It's gotta be
drug criminal
yeah,
military.
it's gotta be some sort of like navy. It's gotta be like a naval like involving like a ship or a battleship or something. Like a murder on a battleship, and then they all it's like, well, this is a navy, like the Jack Reacher just called it because of that, but it's like in LA, so Bosch is involved, and then whoever you bring Jack, and then it's like Jack Ryan, it's like a CIA agent involved, so Jack Ryan has to get called in. Get the AI on that, like put that into the algorithm.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the kind of like the like what's been kind of moving around or canceled or renewed so far. I'm sure there's going to be a lot. If the strike keeps going, which it almost certainly will keep going, because there's been like no budging either way from any group. Probably gonna be a lot more movies getting moved and TV shows getting canceled or delayed. So get ready for more.
Like I said, Zach, we're close to just getting our own show one day. We'll just
Mm-hmm.
persevere.
Mm-hmm.
Do our own reality TV show where we basically just watch other TV shows.
That's what we're gonna get a lot of probably. I mean, all the false shows are reality shows basically. we're
Yeah,
back
but
in
some
like,
of the reality shows is like always drama based. Ours should be
yeah.
even like an endurance thing where we just make someone watch like 9 hours of like canon movies.
Yeah. So last bit news for this week is we got an announcement from what was it? The Mix Next event. Which
I never really heard of this event until recently.
nope, but yeah, a lot of stuff kind of announced and revealed, including there's gonna be a new GI Joe retro style beat 'em up in the vein of Shredder's Revenge or the upcoming Texas Crusaders game, called GI Joe Wrath of Cobra, and it's coming from Maple Powered Games and Freedom Games. And yeah, so like a kind of like 90s, 80s, 90s arcade style beat 'em up. You can play it. You're gonna play as Snake Eyes, Roadblock, Scarlet, Duke, Shipwreck, and then I can't figure out there's a guy in like a full green kind of camo suit. I don't know who that is supposed to be. Is that Flint maybe, or like
No, that's
is it Hawk? Like is it General Hawk?
Leatherhead. Oh no, not Leatherhead.
Leatherneck? Is that
no, Leatherneck is, hold on.
That's a Cajun alligator. Yeah. Everyone is like super distinctive except for that guy. I'm like, who's that guy?
Hold on. Let me see.
Because if it was Flint, he would have a beret on. So it's definitely not Flint.
So is it the one with like the goggles or no goggles?
I'm looking at there's like a screenshot they put out of just like the sprites kind of like animating, and I don't know if you can see that or look at that, but there's like
I'm trying to find it.
It's all 6 of them, and then it's the guy up in the upper left next to Snake Eyes above Shipwreck. Oh wait, is that Shipwreck? It's who's the
guy with the beard, right?
Yeah.
Bazooka, I think it might be Bazooka. Some of this is based on the original lineup. So Leatherneck is the Marine guy that's wearing like the hat. The guy with the goggles in the all green camo is Lowlight, or it's I'm not trying to remember, but I've definitely seen this guy. It's just he changes based on what decade, the toy. Sometimes it's all green, sometimes it's all blue, but the goggles is the distinction. The guy with the beard, full beard, and the all green stuff, I think that's Bazooka.
I think it's Gung Ho.
Anyway, hold up on this.
Yeah, but yeah, so 6 characters. I'm sure if you're a super GI Joe like super fan, you can instantly tell who everyone is. Yes, 6 characters, possibly more, and you're gonna go to like different like places like Cobra Island and the Pit and various Cobra bases and take on Cobra soldiers along with like Cobra vehicles. Like you're gonna fight like his tanks and all sorts of other like very distinctive GI Joe stuff. And it's all based on the 80s cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna have T. Lopes, the incredible soundtrack artist, doing the score. So like expect like Shredder's Revenge style soundtrack, and also John DiGioli, the Crush 40 lead vocalist, is doing like some sort of vocal track for it, or multiple vocal tracks for it. So
I think he did the main theme
song. I think the trailer has seems like a new version of like the GI Joe theme. So.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, it looks like Shredder's Revenge or the Texas Crusader games are coming up, and hopefully it'll be as fun as Shredder's Revenge. I think it's going to be next year, Q1. So I think it's like maybe spring-ish next year. But yeah, we'll definitely be keeping an eye on it and see how it develops, and hopefully maybe we'll get to check it out when it comes out. I think it's hitting I think it's like Switch, PS4, Xbox, PC, everything.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, like, what version is it worth playing on? I feel like
it feels like a Switch game,
game, just because you like all the beat 'em ups I own. Yeah. That's why I'm like, I would get it for the Switch for myself. Hopefully the Switch is still around next year. Now I have like Switch 2, and I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's it for news this week. So why don't you jump into show and tell? And Chris, we've been watching over the last week or so here.
But I finally caught up on Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
So I'm all caught up on that. Though I did have like some issue hearing that movie. I had a digital copy that.
I mean, that was the whole thing in theaters, and like there's like different versions. Like it kept getting like updated or changed, or like different theaters had different versions because they're like sending out different versions of like, we changed the sound mix on this version, or like because yeah, the very first like weekend, people were like, I can't hear especially like the opening, like when the open like Gwen sequence, like people were like, I can't hear anything Gwen is saying.
Yeah, I mean, it was more like, yeah, I had to like rewind scenes again, and the digital version I had didn't have subtitles, so like I just had no idea what they were saying.
Mm-hmm.
So not a fan of that. That fucking terrible. And I was like, I don't know what's wrong. Am I getting old? What's going on in my hearing? But it's like bad sound mixing.
Yeah, that definitely came up when it was in theaters. People were like, I can't understand, or like some of the stuff I can't understand what they're saying, or like the like music is like way over the dialogue. So, but then it did kind of like put out. I think because you can upload a new version of the movie to like theaters. I think they maybe changed something and then sent a new version that was better, possibly. But then some theaters didn't get that version. It was kind of a mess. Like there was like multiple versions of the movie out, and like depending on what theater you're like going to. Yeah.
On home release though, they only did the updated one. So I saw like what used to be like comic bubbles are now like someone saying that, or instead of Miles saying it, it's like Spider-Man 2099 saying it. It's Miguel saying it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I read online that there's a difference, and I was like, okay. And then like I looked it up, and it's like, okay, if this happens, you see this version. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But I like this movie. You know, it's cool to see Spider-Man 2099 like swing around, being like this huge, like impactful character, and not just like a background guy. Just because I grew up with Spider-Man 2099, like
yeah,
when I was
too,
able to like read, and I was like, oh, like check out this new Spider-Man. It's like, wow, I'm so lucky. I'm a kid who like just got like a new Spider-Man, you know, like that. Like I'm what, like 5, you know, like 5, 4 or 5, and I'm like Spider-Man 2099, like the future is now, like holy shit. And yeah, like he was good. They really try to make him out as like antagonists, but
yeah,
it's like he had a point where it's like Miles is kind of like an asshole though. Like it really is a, hey, this is what it is to be a Spider-Man. You just can't put on the costume and just be like, it's all cool. It's like, no, like there is shit happening, and then it's like, no, multiverse rule where it's like you just sacrifice one for the many.
Canon events, maybe.
Canon events, and then it's like, no, you can't. It's like, well, no. See, if you don't, it's not only like the web, but it's like you implode sort of like kind of the rule of Spider-Man. So you're not a Spider-Man then. I don't know. I feel like there's always a common theme, which like they really lean in on. Like I was so glad that they took their time to make this movie to do it right, where it's like, hey, here's this common theme in almost every Spider-Man iteration and sub characters. So it's not just Peter Parker. Like everyone goes by this rule. It's like the defining thing that makes a spider person.
Well, there's like multiple events. It's like you have to have, you know, an Uncle Ben dies, and then like
you need like a loved one
dies.
that dies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You love a loved one, and then an authority figure die.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess it's 2 for 1 for Miles, because it's like his dad is both.
Well, like Uncle Aaron was his like Uncle Ben basically. So he's had one canon event, and then his dad's gonna be the second one if he can't stop it.
Yeah, but then in the evil verse, there's like a different one.
Yeah.
So, I got like a weird vibe of the Batman movie, the like Lego Batman movie from this.
Oh, 100%, yeah, because it's just like madcap. Every single like any sort of like crazy Spider-Man you could possibly think of shows up. I mean, even like Lego Spider-Man, like it's like, you're one of my best, Peter. With like the whole like just like like the Lego Daily Bugle and all that stuff. That was that's such a great sequence. And then even like integrating like live action into it. Like, I mean,
yeah, it was
Don
just
Glover
enough
showing
live
up
action.
as like the Prowler, like, and then like the glimpses of like the movies, like they're like clips from the movies, and you see like it's part of like the like here's other parts of the multiverse. It's like Andrew Garfield's here, and like Tom Holland's here, and like.
Yeah. I didn't mind that. That was fun. Again, you want, like, if you're a Spider person, like, you want to get involved in this movie. I'm surprised they didn't try to incorporate the Fox animated TV show Spider-Man.
I think didn't he show up and have a line?
Did he?
I think he did.
I was just overwhelmed. I was like, whoa, I gotta watch it again.
I mean, there was
he might have.
like,
I couldn't hear the goddamn sound.
Spider-Man Unlimited even showed up. Like
he's noticeable. That's because
yeah.
he stands out because of his weird costume design.
Yeah. And like Scarlet Spider is so good, like Andy Samberg doing like the green 90s
tough voice. Yeah.
Which hopefully we'll get like a lot more of that in the second one, because he's part of he's like one of the main members of like Miguel's team, because they're basically set up like Miguel's gonna have his team, and then like Gwen is assembling like the OG team from the first movie to like help.
Well, Miguel's team is like everyone else then.
Yeah.
In the Spider Citadel, so yeah. I get him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I could see. I think you mentioned it, where this movie at certain point cuts off where it logically should have ended, and then it's like there's more, and all that does is build towards the next arc.
Yeah.
Like, it should have ended at one point, and then that's it. But like, because it wanted to tease, it felt like here's an extra half an hour of plot that we like. I felt like didn't go anywhere, because you're supposed to be like, dun dun dun, stay tuned for next part 2, and I'm like,
part 2.
It didn't feel complete.
Part 2
or
and
part 3.
Who knows when? Like part 3, who knows when? Because like they haven't even started it yet. So
for all we know, Zach, they're just gonna do a reversal where we get to see a Lego version of this whole movie.
Maybe
we're gonna see part 3 takes place part down. It's like
live action.
In live action, where it's like they try to bullshit explain. It's like, it's like this is a Miles Morales universe where he was never like a kid in our like regular non-Spider-Man universe or something, and then get very meta with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it gets almost like everywhere, everything, all at once. Where it's like, in this universe, like this happened, and then it's like, like you're watching. It's a kid watching Spider-Man across the universe in the movies.
Yeah.
And then he also can't hear a lot of the dialogue.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, that movie's gorgeous looking. Every few frames, you could basically take like a screenshot and just looks like amazing like wall art.
It just like all the Spider people have their own style, and like each universe has its own style. Like Gwen's world is like super watercolor and like blues and
yeah.
And then
her world melts like whenever there's an emotional period, just like the color and the tone. I was like, am I watching like Inside Out? What is going on? It's like a Pixar movie.
And then Spider-Punk like literally like looks like he's like ripped off of like a like British like punk like
propaganda.
Like the Clash poster or something.
Yeah.
And he like flash like black and white, or like flash like looking like newsprint. Which he was.
I didn't mind him.
That was he was great when he showed up. It like.
He really had me turn up my sound though. I don't know what copy I had. I really like raised the sound when he was talking.
I mean, it's also like that like Guy Ritchie like Snatch issue where it's just like Daniel Kaluuya is doing a super thick accent, which I don't know if that's his like actual like native accent or if he's like really laying it on. But yeah, it's very like lock, stock, snatch. Like what are these guys saying? I can't understand. It's all slang and brogue and like. Yeah, it was cool. It's cool that like they're kind of like, when he first appeared, like he's setting up as like, oh, he's gonna be like this like romantic rival, or he's gonna be like his rival to Miles, and he's just like this just like, oh, he's just a cool dude.
Yeah, he's just a cool dude. And I was like, oh, I was shocked about that. I was like, I was thinking he was gonna be more like a rival, but he just legit was like, nah, like he kind of knew the shakeup that Miles was like kind of being an anarchist in the group, and he's all about that.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Because the Spider Society is basically like they're cops, they're multiverse cops.
Yeah, and he's just like, oh, we the bad guys now, like trying to ensure that people, we the baddies. That moment.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I definitely recommend it. Probably would have enjoyed seeing in theaters. This is definitely like it should have been my first experience in a theater, but there was no like place playing it at a convenient time or not in a like sea of children.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the other movie I saw is My Name is Dolemite,
Hmm?
the Eddie Murphy, I guess the like
It's a biopic.
sort of biopic, but it's like I want to know if this is like the real version, but
I mean, I'm sure they embellished a lot of like
certain
stuff.
parts, but
Yeah.
it's great. Like I kind of like this better than The Room.
Oh, well,
It's
the
like
disaster
different.
artist.
The Disaster Artist. Sorry,
Yeah.
The Disaster Artist. Like, have you? Okay, so this movie reframes the concept of the series and like the whole Rudy Ray Moore thing, where like I don't know if he was in on the joke in the beginning. Like he knew, like going in, that he was not the conventional anything. So he was like, "Let me go for this angle. People are gonna get it. Like people who enjoy movies will get this. Like they don't need to be high class. Let me go for like the people who would definitely like laugh at dumb jokes,
Hmm.
and I'm just gonna lean in on it." And his vision is that, and he stays true to it like through the whole thing. And he like there is no the movie where I'm like, this has to be sort of like the fantasy version because he genuinely like takes care of everyone. He's like
Yeah.
he's like the opposite of Tommy Wiseau, where like he doesn't have an ego. He just goes, "Hey, I need to make this movie. Like even if I go broke, like this is just the vision. I
Well,
know this
it's like
might be wrong, but
well, it's like he just meets all these like different people, and they all become this like weird filmmaking family basically, and they're all like,
yeah,
we're having so much fun making this movie together, and it's like we're like sharing this dream together, and like this is such a great experience. And, like,
yeah, it's crazy. It's like I don't understand how like this guy was getting so much shit, and it's like it makes me want to like watch more of his movies. You know, it's like he definitely was a visionary for knowing how to produce a comedy on like the cheap, doing it in a way where like you kind of have to warn the audience that it's not supposed to be like serious. Like don't like all this is sort of like a fun movie. It's just like it's gonna be like vulgar on purpose because it's funny. Like it's supposed to be like bad because we don't actually have the skills. Like Rudy Ray Moore's karate is just like I think it looks cool, but I that's like it's weird because like I don't think you understood how karate works, but in the movie it's like I've got enough moves, it looks cool, and they're like, well, we have no option because at least in the first Dolemite movie, My Name of Dolemite, they're like we have no choice because like we have no film to reshoot this. So everything's like almost like a one take.
yep. Hmm.
So it is what it is. I'm like, I get that spirit. And it's cool to see like an underdog achieve it. And generally like you just sort of like root for him, you kind of wish they go into more, but I'm fine with what it was. Like you like you understand like he was a guy kind of down on his luck making this movie, and he scrapped together what he could, and it paid off in like this amazing way. And like I just regret not meeting him like anytime, like like it sucks that like this movie comes out, shows you the fun thing about like a dumb movie, and even though I say dumb in like not in a bad way, it's just like yeah, like it campy is the better term, but
Hmm.
it's like I just like to throw these movies, and it's like, whoa, I would have like loved to have been at a premiere and hang out. And they make him out like as a, I guess like what he was in the like 2000s, where if Rudy Ray Moore showed up at like a convention, he would be loud and brass and just like, hey, like he knew that angle. But I bet you there was a time though he might have been an asshole to something, the something
Hmm.
unreasonable or drugs, because but they don't get into it because they really show him as someone that like struggled, and I get it, like to get that first movie out and where it's like no one believed him, and it does crazy because it's like at one point it's like, oh, like he was an underground like filmmaker. He was basically underground musician. He made a comedy album, and that did enough to film the movie, because his character of Dolemite was just like a character he invented, because where he was in the city of LA, like people were basically, it was like the early form of rapping, and it was just like rhyming and making insults.
Yeah.
So like going from there into making a comedy album that basically was just a tangent of insults and just sort of like making that archetype, and it's like, holy shit, Dolomite's responsible for that. You know, like it was just like, it blew my mind, because I was like, wait, what? How's this not talked about more? Like, I get it's not glamorous because it's really vulgar, and his albums are hilarious. Like him trying to figure out how to make these underground like album covers, and he's like, I'm just gonna get a bunch of nude women, and then I'm just gonna tastefully like try to like be in the photos, and it's like he just looks terrible in them, and it's like, yeah, I know, like, and again, I mean, have you seen this movie?
Oh yeah, I saw it like when it came like hit
Oh,
Netflix,
okay.
like originally,
Yeah,
which was like
I
5 years ago,
yeah,
or whatever.
I was like, I'm just like, what? How did I sleep on this? But it was like in the right mood of watching like this. I was like, oh my god, like this is, why is that talked about? Netflix, why are you like burying this movie in my recommendation list?
Mm-hmm.
But it's great.
And
Definitely recommend it.
Eddie Murphy's fantastic in it, but
Super fantastic.
and then people were like, oh man, Eddie Murphy's back, and then he kind of like he's only done like 2 movies after, like post Dolemite's My Name. Like he did like coming to America, and then You People.
That's it. I know, it's a
Yeah,
shame.
it's like because people are like, oh man, it's like the Eddie Murphy Assance is like, this is gonna be like the kicking off like this new era of his career where like, he's gonna like be in like awesome movies again and be awesome in them. And it's just like,
No, yeah, he did the opposite of a Dolomite. He just sort of like, I'll take bit roles, or like Coming to America 2 wasn't like a bit role, but
oh yeah,
it definitely was like, it wasn't as good as the first movie.
and it was, and I think You People got really good reviews.
Yeah, but it's not really. It was just like every few years they make that kind of movie.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted something where it's like he gets to play like another character that isn't just like Donkey, or you want him to be another character from another movie like Metro and Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that Beverly Hills Cop, that fourth Axel Foley's coming apparently, so
Can't come soon enough.
on Netflix.
But
Apparently, like we might get like something similar to Dolemite's My Name at some point, because apparently he's also gonna be in a George Clinton biopic, playing George Clinton.
oh shit! So he's just making biopics of famous black actors.
Yeah, or George Clinton's like funk musicians.
Yeah. They're famous like black historical figures. I'm fine with that, because he blew me away as just like Rudy Ray Moore, and I'm fine with Eddie Murphy doing this, because he wasn't Eddie. He kind of lose Eddie Murphy because he doesn't do his laugh. He doesn't do like his typical like voices. He's very trying to encompass what Rudy May was. So I give him credit for that.
Yeah.
The only thing though, again, when you're just like, it works too smoothly like in that movie. So I'm like, what? Besides the down of like, hey, we can't give you the money. It's just like his rise is really quick at the end. Like it just like compared to the first arc to the last arc, it's like, wait, we're going so fast now on the last part.
Mm-hmm. It's like everyone loved it, and he was a huge success. Like
the end. You're like, wait, what? But yeah, that's it for me. Just Spider-Man and Dolemite movies. I kind of want to watch more Dolemite movies later.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
We should definitely like throw on a Dolemite thing.
We'll to see what's on, like if there any that are streaming anywhere.
I mean, by today's standard, it's kind of like Black Dynamite, of just the cultural phenomenon of that, and that all that was just like a Dolemite movie without Dolemite. So I can't wait for that other like Michael J. White movie where he plays the cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, that movie's coming out.
I think this year, sometime this year, I think it's coming out.
I think it was done filming like 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, as far as what I've been watching, I've seen all the episodes so far of Ahsoka, the new Star Wars show on Disney Plus, which I am enjoying so far. Although I'm enjoying it because I also love Rebels and Clone Wars, which I've seen a lot of people like complaining or talking about like, oh, like you gotta watch you gotta watch like Rebels to understand what the show is, and like it's like, yeah, I mean Ahsoka is basically the Rebels season 5. So you really need to know what happened on Rebels, especially, and then
Damn.
maybe Clone, like, because there's like an opening crawl in the first episode of like kind of explaining maybe a little bit of like what's going on, but like they don't explain who any of the characters are. They don't really like you really need to know like what happened, especially at like the end of Rebels, and because I mean it's all the Rebels characters, like it's like Hera and Sabine and Chopper and all these other like all the characters in that show, and then they're looking for Ezra, who was like another character in that show. And so if you don't know who any of them are, they don't explain who they are. So you're just you're gonna be totally lost if you don't have no knowledge of Rebels. So definitely need to like watch Rebels, or like at least watch some sort of like recap of Rebels, like if you want to watch Ahsoka. Because yeah, they're not helping you out at all if you're not like up to speed. But being up to speed,
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying seeing like all these characters live action. And just continue that story, because Rebels definitely ended on like a big cliffhanger that this is now finally resolving. And yeah, just like some cool Star Wars. Like this is like old school Star Wars. Like I mean, Andor was a really fun, refreshing change of pace, but this is like if you want like Star Wars as Star Wars, this is there's lightsaber battles, there's like space dogfights. It's like all the kind of classic Star Wars stuff you would want is in here. And yeah, I mean, and everyone in the cast is great. Rosario Dawson, obviously we've seen her before as Ahsoka, and she's doing this, like the same thing that she was in Mandalorian and Boba Fett, and she's like a great kind of like older live action Ahsoka. The late Ray Stevenson is like one of the main villains. He's awesome. It's just so bittersweet because he's so good. It's just like, oh god, we're never gonna see him again. Like he's never gonna be in anything ever again. But he's like this like dark Jedi. So I don't think he's not like a full Sith. He's like a dark Jedi because he's still like he kind of still has like a conscience and like regrets and stuff. Like there's a point where like
I thought he was like straight up a villain.
no, like I mean he's more like a mercenary, like he's like a Jedi mercenary for hire. Like he's been hired by like the villains, but he kind of is still kind of like has some sort of respect for like the Jedi Order. And there's a point where like they're like the other like Morgan Elsbeth, who was in Mandalorian, like she's like the person that like the first episode that Ahsoka shows up in, like she like defeats her, and then it's like gets like the like the Beskar staff from her, and like it's like where's Thrawn. So she's like the main Morgan Elsbeth is like the main villain, and she's like a Thrawn acolyte, and she's like trying to get Thrawn back. And they also reveal that she's like a night sister from Dathomir.
Wait. She was the one in the Mandalorian, and
in the first episode where Ahsoka appeared in live action in the Mandalorian, they have like she and Ahsoka have that fight, like the duel.
Oh, okay.
So she comes back. She was like captured by the New Republic, but in the first episode, like
I thought she died.
Well, she got captured by because they like Ahsoka let her live, and then they basically like apparently they called like the New Republic and had her arrested. But then
I don't remember that. See, I thought like in my head I thought she got like stabbed and that was it.
Yeah. But yeah, like within like the first like 5 minutes of the first episode of Ahsoka, like Ray Stevenson and his apprentice show up and like break her out of this like Republic ship, and then she's like, now we're on a plan to like get Thrawn back. But then like Elspeth is like, you need to kill Ahsoka, Tano, and then Ray Stevenson is like, I'll do it, but it's a shame. There's so few Jedi left. So yeah, I mean he's a villain, but he is like he has like definitely has like this like deeper kind of conscience and like respect for the past. He's not a full like evil Sith, just like
right.
Like
he's not red glowing eyes
yeah.
and like slaying. He's kind of like in it for the money.
Mm-hmm. He's in it for the money, but like is like regretful that like they're still not like the Jedi Order. Like he's like laments like the loss of the Jedi Order. Still,
They haven't gone. I mean, I'll watch it, but I hope they at least cover why he left the Order.
they haven't really gotten into for 3 episodes in. They haven't really gotten into like any sort of like flashbacks on him, or like he just is like, oh, he survived. He's one of the few people that survived the Order 66 and is now kind of like a mercenary for hire, and he has this apprentice with him.
But it's weird that like in the movie version, it made it seem like there were no Sith, right? And then as soon as the fall of the Jedi from power, they were like, okay, either you're dead or become a Sith or went into exile. But it's like, I kind of want to see that fall into Sithhood.
Well, a lot of the extended stuff, especially like like the Jedi games and Clone War, like I think Rebels in the game, and especially like the Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order, they've really gotten into a lot of the surviving Jedi. If they got captured by like Darth Vader, like he like tortured them into like becoming Inquisitors. So a lot of the Inquisitors are like just like twisted, tortured Jedi that they got captured.
That's dark.
Yeah.
For this generation, because I know in the Old Republic it was just like two different beliefs. You became a dark Sith temple or your Jedi temple, in the city, in Coruscant. But yeah, I was wondering like, because I know like from the original trilogy, it's just like, oh, like a Sith wasn't even a thing yet. So like the first movie, Sith is not even uttered until the third movie, like no, Empire. Maybe.
Yeah.
But like like I'm trying to think like, so like a lot of them, I mean in Survivor like or Fallen Order, wasn't it just like some dude just in a hyperbolic chamber? So they just sort of like, oh yeah, I kind of waited it out.
Are you thinking of Fallen Order, or are you thinking of like the Force Unleashed?
Force Unleashed, I'm not thinking, because that one doesn't count. He doesn't fight a lot of Darth Sith in that one.
No.
Outcast was good because the new Sith were just like people that took on Jedi energy and then became like a Sith, like a reborn. So that was cool. Yeah. It's like, hey, they're ordinary people, but if you just hang out in this light beam long enough, you get like basic Jedi powers.
Yeah, especially Rebels. Yeah, definitely Rebels and like the new like the Cal Kestis like Jedi games. They've really gotten into like the Inquisitors, and there's like the Inquisitors have like specialized stormtroopers with them called like Sith. There's like the special like above like Dark Troopers or like Dark or whatever, like the like Death Troopers. There's like Sith guys there with like Sith specialized troops that go with the Inquisitors, and the Inquisitors have like special like their circular lightsabers and their special armor, and they're like just going around hunting Jedi. But yeah, Ahsoka, I'm enjoying it so far because I'm a huge fan of the animated shows. So it's just cool seeing like that story continue and seeing these characters in live action. So I would say definitely check it out, especially if you're a fan of like the animation stuff. Check it out. If not, definitely refresh yourself on what happened if you want to try to check it out. And then I also saw I got a review screener for King of Killers, which is actually, if you're hearing this, is out right now in theaters or theater on demand or digital. And it's a new kind of assassin action movie with Frank Grillo and Elaine Moussi, who was in the reboot Kickboxer movies, and he's been in some other stuff. I think he was in that like Jiu-Jitsu movie with Nicolas Cage. And it actually King of Killers is directed by Kevin Graveau, who was in the Underworld movies, and I think he helped write them and produce them, and he was like so he's a credit of like the characters by for Underworld, and he directed and wrote King of Killers. He also like co-stars in it as like one of the assassins that gets brought in. And basically the setup is that Elaine Moussi is this assassin. He used to work for the CIA, and he is on one of his jobs, like his wife somehow somehow ends up showing up there and gets like accidentally murdered. and so then he kind of like is like out of the game for a while. But then he gets invited by this mysterious new client to go to Tokyo and to try to take out like this like legendary assassin like Jorgo Dracos, who's like the king of killers, like the self-proclaimed king of killers, like he's the best assassin in the world. And then when Elaine Moosey gets there, like there's like 5 other assassins there along with him, and then they all find out that like, oh, they were actually hired instead of like trying to hire someone to take out Dracos. Dracos hired them because he's like wants to like have this competition to see who's the best. And so it's like totally get twisted around. Instead of like them thinking they're gonna agree on this contract to like take down this assassin, like, now they're the ones getting like taken out or like hunted down because this Frank Grillo is set up this whole like building with traps in it, and it's this whole game to him. But if anyone can possibly kill him, then he'll give them $10 million. But it's like he's like so far ahead of like he's just like so like formidable and like skilled, like it's like even though these are like some of the best assassins in the world, like they're still kind of like not even close to him.
Their skill level.
Yeah.
Is he hunting them in his house?
He sets up like because he's so successful and so like he's like the greatest assassin in the world. He has so much money. It seems like he basically set up this whole like built this abandoned building in like abandoned hotel or this like whole building in Tokyo, and he's like rigged each floor with like different like traps, and he's got like sonic traps and like trap doors and all sorts of stuff going on. And
he basically made a Saw.
Yeah, trap. not quite as like brutal as Saw, but like just like stuff where he has like an advantage against them, and then he wants them to go like one at a time, and then Elaine Moosey's like, well, we have to like we have to try to like go together and stop it. That's the only way we're gonna stop him is like because he's gonna like take us all out one by one if we keep doing this. But it's pretty solid. Like a lot of cool fights. If you want to just see some cool like one-on-one fights, especially like Frank Grillo just like dominating people and destroying them, that's pretty fun. Elaine Moosey is like has some cool fights. Like Elaine Moosey is like really awesome, just like physical. Like he has so much like really awesome like physicality, like his kicks and his like all his like martial arts stuff. I mean, you saw it in like the Kickboxer reboots and Jiu-Jitsu and like some of the other movies he's been in. I will say there's definitely some plotting issues and some like story issues. Like especially like the ending is terrible. Like there's like because it's like you get to a certain point and then it's like the last like 5 minutes they set up. It's all they just like dropped like all this exposition and all this like there's like twists and sequel setups and all sorts of like other like just like dumps it all at once, and you're just like, wait, what? Like this now we're setting up a sequel, and now we're setting up these like weird twists, and we're setting up those like we're just like dropping all like tons of exposition about the world and like but there's like 2 minutes left of this movie. So I mean
it's just like an info dump at the end.
Yeah, it's just like here you go. I'm gonna sit here and explain like a ton of stuff that we haven't even talked about or mentioned in all this movie. Now we're setting it up for like maybe a sequel? ? Who knows? And there's also some just like earlier too. There's like some stuff where like also like Elaine Moosey is like obsessed with like tracking down like who killed his wife, but then the way like his wife is like shot and like in the way you see it in the movie, it's like it kind of just seems like she was like just like standing behind a door and got shot accidentally. So you're not really in like the mindset of like, oh, someone like murdered his wife. It's just like, oh, she just like she was in the wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah,
but there's this whole thing of like Elaine Moosey has this like conspiracy board set up with like all these different people. Like there's like, oh, this person might have been like, I gotta track this person down to find out who this person, and this person might kill this is my person to kill my wife. It's like,
wait, are they all meeting at the same mansion, like abandoned?
Oh, none of the other assassins that get brought to like this like game are involved in his wife's murder. It's just like, but it's just like I was so confused because I'm just like I don't what is like the mystery of his wife's murder? She was just like standing behind a door and got shot because she was outside a giant shootout that he was having with like these like Eastern European gangsters. So like why does he think like someone murdered her?
Is that like the crux of the movie, or is that just like a subplot that they just like bring back in right after the main plot?
Well, that's kind of like one of the plotting issues too, because he seems like that's gonna be like, oh, that's like his like motivation. Like maybe like he's like being promised that like he'll like if he can kill like the king of killers, like he'll find out who's kill his wife or something. But like as soon as he takes the job and then goes to Tokyo, it has nothing to do with his wife's murder. It's just this whole separate thing. But then with the ending, then they like, oh yeah, we set that up earlier. Like here's part of the exposition dump is like, and also like here's what happened to your wife. Like,
and okay, I'll ask this another time, so maybe I can watch it. But I'm just like, oh, okay. I feel like it's sort of like
it's
sort
brand
of like
new. I don't want to spoil
Hangman.
it. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it. It's literally brand new. Like if you're hearing this when it comes out, this podcast is out. It's literally out today. It's the first day it's been out. So yeah, I don't want to spoil too much about it, but definitely, I think it's definitely rushed and weird. And it kind of leaves a sour taste in your mouth. But overall, it's a fun solid if you just want to see some some cool fights. They're pretty brutal too. Like a lot of like crazy gore and like limbs getting cut off and like some like brutal finishers. Like Frank Grillo like at one point like takes one of the assassins he's fighting and like just drags their neck across like this broken glass, and just like drags them all the way down this like cubicle like wall that has glass on it. Or it's like another guy who's like they're like Frank Grillo's like fighting out with a sword, and then the guy goes for a kick, and then Frank Grillo like blocks the kick with his sword and like cuts the guy's leg off, which I've never seen before.
Well, sword block, because some guy is just coming up and kicking, and
does
Frank Grillo have the sword presented, or he like
he puts it up to block the kick, and then like the guy's like leg gets cut off because he kicked the sword.
Yeah, don't kick a sword.
Yeah. But yeah, it's solid. It's definitely if you want to see Frank Grillo just like be a badass and like badass villain and just like murder a bunch of people. It's a fun watch, but it definitely has some issues. And then the last thing I saw is the 80s like cult classic maybe ? The Ice Pirates that came from my slowly dwindling Netflix physical media queue.
If you just keep them, you don't have to give them back.
Oh, well, I'm also in that raffle for like I don't know if you heard, but they're gonna like randomly send people like they might randomly send you like 10 discs up to 10 discs for your queue maybe for like the last week. Keep? Yeah. Well, I mean, they're not saying like oh you can keep them, but they're basically saying like oh yeah we're not gonna charge you like lateness or like you don't have to send them back right away if you for like the last like month of Netflix. So yeah, but they're basically saying like yeah you can keep whatever DVDs you want if you for when it gets sent to the like if you get a movie and you want to keep it and then never get another DVD again, that's fine, we don't care. But yeah, I got the Ice Pirates from Netflix on DVD. So this is a 1984 MGM joint. Sci-fi, although it kind of feels like MGM just had a bunch of like random stuff lying around and they needed to make another movie for some reason in 1984. So there's like, well, we got sci-fi stuff, we got like fantasy medieval stuff, we got Mad Max style vehicles. Let's just figure out a movie that we can put them all in. Because it's like it's a sci-fi, like they're space pirates, but they're fighting with swords. It feels like a swashbuckling movie, but in space. And then but the villains are all like knights. So it's just like it's a crazy mismatch of like styles and aesthetics and like each place you go to is like a different total aesthetic completely. Like there's one planet where it's like totally Mad Max style, but the premise is basically that so you got Robert Urich, who is the main head of the Ice Pirates. He's Jason, so I guess like Jason the Argonauts or like that style character. And it's in a universe where water, like there's this one group they basically taken over the galaxy, and they control the water. So there's like no water anywhere in the galaxy except for the water that's like this group of the Templars controls. But then the Ice Pirates come in and steal ice from the Templars, and then they sell it for like a high price. So that's like their main, like water's more like more valuable than gold or any sort of like jewelry or anything. It's like water is the currency now.
It's a resource. It's also like a food.
Yeah, because drink it, but then also like they're selling ice to like for like super high prices, and they're stealing it from like these like massive treasure ships that have like holds full of ice. But there's also like rumors of like a mystical like seventh world that has like tons of water on it, but no one can find it.
Like a water world.
Yes. And then they on one of their like heists, they like, find a princess on one of these ships. They kidnap her, and then her father knew where like this like seventh world was. So then it becomes part of like, oh well, we'll help you find your father, and we'll try to find this like mystical world, and then also like dodge the Templars because they're like after us now.
I do remember one thing about this movie is that it's a mess of like 8 different concepts.
That's what I was saying. It feels like MGM just had like, well, we got.
I get like reusing props, but it's just plot wise, it's just way too dense.
Yes, yeah, there's like every new place they go is like a totally new like situation, new like rules, new like they go like one planet. It's like there's just like Mad Max Marauders driving around. They go to another place and it's like a weird society run by like Bruce Valanche and like an army full of Amazons, and then it's like, then also there's like time travel and there's like there's all sorts of like robots and there's like there's like the main there's like one of the early things like the crew gets captured and so like Jason and then like one of his other guys are like put through like this like Templar, because like any prisoner they capture they put them through like like they turn them into basically like eunuchs and for like to make them like slaves. So like they're going to this machine and it's like cut their balls off and like put them in like leotards with like white wigs on. It's just a weird like wacky sequence.
And it's not like a big plot thing. It's something that happens while they're here.
Just one random. This movie is like a lot of just like we just need to go like random places and have random things happen and like maybe get like one piece of evidence to take us to the next place and then go there and have like a wacky adventure. So yeah, it's very loose with this plot. I'm just like the plot is just sort of like a very loose structure to get them to like different places and different like situations for whatever it's saying.
You know, it's like excuses to use more sets because they just had it, and I guess they were going to destroy these sets after.
Maybe, so. Yeah. But I mean, there's some fun stuff like the during like the finale, they're in like this warp to get to like the seventh world, but the warp is sort of like Interstellar-esque, where it's like every minute is like months or years passing by. So they're having this huge big battle with the Templars and all the pirates and everything, but then everyone's like aging. So by the end of this fight, like Robert Urich is like this like super old man trying to fight like these like night guys who are also old. And so it's like, oh, it's like you have a kid. The kid's like the kid's a grown man now. Like it was like 5 minutes ago.
You know, I've only seen this movie a few times, like when I was a kid myself, so I just do not remember this at all. It's like never on TV anymore.
I think this might have been like maybe an HBO or like a cable movie, possibly. Because I think this is probably about how it built up, because it definitely has like a cult following. Like it's kind of like a deeper cut cult classic as far as like 80s sci-fi. Like
yeah, just the term ice pirate. Like some people always reference the movie as it's from there.
And then there's also like there's another one that's similar. I can't remember, like it's like something across the Forbidden Zone or something. There's like another kind of movie like that. There's a lot of like kind of like not Star Wars but trying to be Star Wars like 80s movies. They're like there's a lot like all these like weird sci-fi movies that are like lower budget trying to be like, I mean Battle Beyond the Stars is also like kind of definitely in this like vein.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty fun. I mean it's insane. Like some of it doesn't make any sense, but it was just but it's kind of like a fun ridiculous 80s movie. So it has like a super young Ron Perlman in it. Like I think it's like one of his like first movies ever. Like he's one of the pirates. He's like literally dressed like a pirate. He's like a striped pirate shirt and a bandana on. It's like he's dressed like an actual like naval pirate, like, but he's on a spaceship.
I always thought Ron Perlman's first film was The City of Lost Children.
I mean, it might have been, but like, this is definitely one of his first movies.
Well, yeah, I get that. I just remember The City of Lost Children, like, because he's like speaking like French, so I was like, oh.
This was his second movie. He was in Quest for Fire was his first movie, and then he was in Ice Pirates.
I still have not seen Quest for Fire.
City of Lost Children was 10 years after Ice Pirates.
I know. I was like, wait. I'm like,
yeah.
I totally did not recognize him in other movies.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and also like Anjelica Houston's in this movie too. It's like one of the pirate crew.
What?
Yeah.
I've seen the poster a shitload of times because I was confused with Mad Max. But yeah, I didn't know Ice Pirate was this like ensemble.
John Matuzak, who played Sloth in the Goonies, he's in it. He's awesome in it. He's like this like guy they just run to, and he's like, "Why are we on a crew?" He's like, "Sure, yeah, I'll be on your crew."
Wow, this movie did okay, like for budget wise, like it made some money back. Not enough to be a blockbuster, but
yeah,
crazy. It's like kind of like a like at the time one of those like, oh, it's go see Ice Pirates is like. It's got the Indiana Jones font. It's got the look of like an 80s movie, like peak 80s, and then like an all-star cast.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
I really slept on that.
So yeah, definitely worth checking out if you want to see like some weird, fun 80s sci-fi. I don't know if it's I got it on Netflix because it wasn't streaming anywhere, so I don't know if it's like streaming anywhere maybe now since it's the new month and stuff shifts around. As far as like streaming services, but if you still have a Netflix DVD queue for another month, you can throw it in your queue. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me this week. So we wrap things up. Definitely have our site. We've got, as we mentioned at the top of the show, we got our Star Wars: The Clone Wars commentary. You can go sync that up on Disney Plus and watch that with us. We also got our Gamebox 2.0 article for this month, so you can check out what games we played for August. I've got a written review of King of Killers. If you want to read my thoughts on that movie, you can read that on the site right now as well. And all of our usual features and news, all the trailers that we talked about, everything else is up there. So everyone check all that stuff out. And so for Chris, I am Zach, and we will see you next week. For more Everything Action, head to www.everythingaction.com. You can also follow us on Twitter @EVAction, on Facebook by searching for Everything Action, and follow us on Instagram @everything.action. You can also subscribe and get more episodes on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.